Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
What's going on, good people? It is Fearless Faith Friday. You made it to the end of the week, and I want to celebrate you. But I know we still have a little time left in this day. Some of us do, but some of us already completed what we started, and I celebrate you. But today, I want to talk about operating in scarcity will cost you the right season. Yes, it will. All week, we've been exposing something. Monday, we said your communication is telling on you. Tuesday, we broke down how when your message isn't structured, it leaks. Wednesday, we made it clear your brand is built on what people experience, not what you intended. And Thursday, yesterday, we dealt with the truth that your brand can sound right, but your life isn't aligned. But today, we answer the real question. Why does this keep happening? Why do you know better but still show up wrong? Why do you see it but still mismanage it? Because you're operating in scarcity. And if you don't fix that, operating in scarcity will cost you the right season. Let's look at two scriptures. Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Let's look at Romans 12:2. You know what this is. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's what we have been doing this whole week. We have been changing the way you think. We have been renewing your mind to what God has lined up for you, your God-given purpose. And you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Join us on this heavenly journey, one song at a time, Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown. Scarcity is not just money. See, when most people hear scarcity, they think money. But scarcity is not your bank account. It's your internal condition. You can have money and still think broke. You can have access and still hesitate. You can be in the right room and still feel like you don't belong there. Scarcity shows up in your posture, how you speak, how quickly you second guess yourself after you say something. It shows up in how you approach opportunity, not with confidence, but with caution and fear of loss. And here's the danger, y'all. If you don't recognize scarcity internally, you will spend your time chasing external fixes. More money, more connections, more opportunities. But none of that fix how you see. Scarcity isn't what you have. It's how you see what you have. And if your vision is off, your decisions will be too. And let's make this even more real. Scarcity will make you walk into a situation already assuming lack. You'll assume you don't have enough leverage, you don't have enough value, you don't have enough position. So before everything even happens, you've already positioned yourself lower. Now your tone changes. Now your energy changes. Now your presence changes. And people respond to that, whether they can explain it or not, because people don't just respond to what you say. They respond to what you believe about yourself. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
You're riding the waves of faith and grace on Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise, and this is Fearless Faith Friday, and we're talking about scarcity. How many of y'all know scarcity distorts your thinking? Let's slow it down. Let's slow it down a little bit. When your mind is in scarcity, it's not neutral. It's under strain. That drops in mental bandwidth means you miss details, you overlook consequences, you ignore patterns you would normally catch. So now you're not thinking from a place of clarity, you're thinking from a place of pressure. And pressure narrows your options. You stop seeing possibilities and start focusing on problems. That's why people say, I just needed to fix it quickly. But quick fixes often create long-term damages. Scarcity doesn't just affect your situation, it affects your judgment. And once your judgment is off, everything that follows will be off too. And here's what's even more dangerous. When your thinking is distorted, it doesn't feel wrong, it feels justified. You're convinced yourself, this makes sense. This is what I have to do. I don't have another option. But that's the trap. Scarcity doesn't remove options. It removes your ability to see them. So now you're making permanent decisions based on temporary pressure, and that's how people end up in situations they later say they never should have been in. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. You were under pressure. We all been under pressure. We all. But let's dig into that a little bit deeper. Pressure doesn't make you feel or make you move fast. It makes you disconnect from your principles. Can I say that again? Okay. Pressure doesn't make you move fast. It make you disconnect from your principles. Things you said you would never do, you start considering. Lines you said you wouldn't cross, you start stepping over. Because pressure is trying to solve discomfort, not protect your alignment. And when discomfort becomes your driver, you will always choose relief over right. So now your decisions aren't guided by who you are. They're guided by what you're trying to escape. And this is where people get confused, because after the decision, you look back and say, why did I do that? And the answer is simple. You weren't thinking from your standard. You were reacting from your pressure, and pressure speeds you up past your discipline. It pushes you ahead of your preparation. And when you move faster than your foundation, you lose stability. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
This is the Afternoon Praise. Hey, if you got a shout out or request, hit me up and I got you, all right? Hey, scarcity lowers your standards. Let me give you another angle. When your standards drop, your expectations fall. So now you don't just accept less, you start expecting less. You stop believing for better. You stop preparing for better. You stop positioning yourself for better. And over time, you normalize what you once resisted. That's how people end up saying, this is just how it is. No, people. No. That's not how it is. That's how it became, because you adjusted it. And once your expectations drop, your comfort starts to match. You stop pushing, you stop refining, you stop holding the line, because internally you've already accepted a lower outcome. And this is how slow drift happens. Not in one big decision, but in small compromises over time. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
This is Fearless Faith Friday here on Wave Radio. I just want to thank you all for tuning in and listening. Man, you all make this a great opportunity, because again, I get to do this. God has chosen me. God has blessed me. And I'm so excited to be able to do the Afternoon Praise. I do not take this show lightly, and the opportunity to teach you all, I do not take that lightly. Let's talk about scarcity creates false urgencies. Scarcity will rush you. Scarcity will rush you. I know I've been there. It will make everything feel like now or never, this or nothing, move or miss it. But urgencies without clarity is dangerous because it shuts down your ability to think, discern, and evaluate. You stop asking, is this right for me? And start asking, can I afford to miss this? That's a different question, people. If it's rushing you, it's not rooted in peace. And God doesn't move through panic. And here's what makes this even more dangerous. False urgency doesn't just push you to move. It pushes you to move before you're ready to evaluate properly. So now you're not choosing based on alignment, you're choosing based on timing and pressure. And pressure will make average opportunities feel exceptional. It will make you overvalue something just because it's available right now. And that's how people attach urgency to things that were never meant for them. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. Hey, this is Fearless Faith Friday, and I want to say, keep going, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. You can be in the right season and still show up wrong. This is the heart of this message right here. This is where I'm trying to get you prepared, get your mind right, get your heart right, make sure you're lined up with your God-given purpose. Because again, you can be in the right season and still show up wrong. You can be in the right moment with the wrong mindset. You can have the opportunity, you can have the access, you can have the environment, but still mishandle it. Right timing with a scarcity mindset will still cost you. So it wasn't the season, it was how you showed up in it. And let's make this real. You can walk into a room prepared externally, but still feel unprepared internally. And that internal hesitation will slow your execution. You won't speak when you should speak. You won't move when you should move. You won't position yourself when the moment is there. And people won't experience your full capacity. They will experience your hesitation. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Bringing the sounds of heaven 24/7, Wave Radio.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown. How many of you all stayed in situations know you shouldn't have been there? Now, you put yourself in situations you know you shouldn't have been there because of scarcity, but some of us, we stay in places past our time. They were the right places at the right time, but scarcity keep us too long. Now, let's deal with staying past expiration. You didn't stay because it was right. You stayed because you were comfortable, you were familiar, you were invested. But what used to be aligned became delayed. Just because it was right doesn't mean it's still right. And here's the part people don't talk about. Staying too long doesn't feel wrong immediately. It feels safe, it feels stable, it feels controlled. But over time, that same place starts to limit you. And instead of growing, you start managing. And there's a difference between maintaining something and being called to something greater. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise, and it is Fearless Faith Friday. Let's talk about the sunk cost trap. Psychology shows we avoid loss more than we pursue gain. So you stay because I've already put years into this. I've already invested too much. But hear this clearly. You're not protecting your past. You're sacrificing your future. And let's go deeper. The longer you stay, the more you justify. You start creating reasons. It's not that bad. I can make it work. I just need to adjust. But adjustment is not the same as alignment. And just because you can make something work doesn't mean it's where you're supposed to be. And at some point, wisdom says, this served its purpose, but is no longer my place or my piece or my assignment. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. Hey, let's talk about the types of scarcity. Scarcity isn't just money. You have time scarcity. I'm running out of time. You have opportunity scarcity. This is my only chance. Identity scarcity. I'm not enough. Validation scarcity. I need approval. And every one of these distort your decisions. And what makes this powerful is most people don't recognize which one they are operating in. So they keep repeating patterns without understanding the source. They think it's bad luck or timing or people, but it's internal. And until you identify which scarcity is driving you, you'll keep making decisions from the same place. And let's repeat these different types of scarcities again so that you can meditate and think about these. Scarcity isn't just money. Okay, we're gonna get that out of the way. Time scarcity. I'm running out of time. Opportunity scarcity. This is my only chance. Identity scarcity. I'm not enough. Validation scarcity. I need approval. These are the types of scarcity, and you have to recognize which one you're operating under. And I'm gonna tell you, most likely your scarcity of money is the result of the scarcity of one of those you're operating in. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown, and you're tuned in here to Wave Radio. If you got a prayer request, go to waveradio.com, put your prayer request in, or you can go to my social media, which is the Business Point Guard, aka Demetrius L. Brown, and put your prayer requests in, because we want to connect and we want to come with you and pray with you over whatever it is you need us to pray for. Now, let's talk about scarcity leaked into everything this week. Let's connect this week, all right? Your communication was off because of scarcity. Your structure leaked because of scarcity. Your brand was inconsistent because of scarcity. Your life wasn't aligned because of scarcity. Scarcity has been behind everything we exposed this week, every show we talked about this week. And this is why information alone doesn't fix it. Because you can hear everything we taught this week and still not apply it. Why? Because application is driven by mindset. And if your mindset is still rooted in scarcity, you will filter everything through that lens. And if you miss any of the shows this week, go back to Wave Radio and you can listen to all the shows minus the music. I promise you, these shows will line up to where we are today. Hey, you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. How many of y'all overthink things? You overthink or overpray. Oh, I'm praying about it and wait for God to answer. I got to keep praying. Man, once you pray about something, you should have the faith that God answered it. If you really truly believe in praying for something to change or something to happen, you should have enough faith to say, okay, I asked God, now I believe he's doing it. So now I'm walking in what I believe God to do. So faith without works is dead. And overthinking is a scarcity response. Overthinking feels like control, but it's actually fear. Study shows overthinking increases hesitation and decreases accuracy. So now you delay, you second guess, you miss timing. You didn't need more thought, you needed more trust. And let's go further. Overthinking is often your mind trying to avoid risk. You're trying to predict every outcome before you move. But the real movement requires uncertainty. So while you're trying to eliminate risk, you are actually eliminating progress because you never moved at full speed. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown. Survival mode versus alignment. When you're in survival mode, you ask, how do I get through this? But alignment asks, how do I move correctly? Survival always chooses what's available. Alignment chooses what's right. And survival mode keeps you reacting. You don't have time to think ahead. You're just dealing with what's in front of you. But alignment requires space. Space to think, space to evaluate, space to decide properly. And if you never create that space, you will stay stuck in reaction. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown. Scarcity will make you force doors. I've been there. I've done that. It looks like opportunity, but it really wasn't. I was operating in what I didn't have. But this is where people mess up. You start forcing relationships, opportunities, and outcomes because you think you need something now. Scarcity will make the wrong door feel like the only door. And when you force something, you also take on the responsibility of sustaining it. You have to keep pushing it, keep maintaining it, keep making it work. And that's exhausting. Because alignment doesn't require force, it requires position. Listen to what I'm saying, people. This is where we mess up. And I've been here. I've been in this position. You start forcing relationships, opportunities, and outcomes because you think you need something now. Scarcity will make the wrong door feel like the only door. And when you are forcing something, you also take on the responsibility of sustaining it. You have to keep pushing it, keep managing it, keep making it work. And that's exhausting, people. I know some of y'all are exhausted right now in the wrong situations. But alignment doesn't require force. It requires positioning. Change your position. And you're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. Faith breaks scarcity. Scarcity says there's not enough. Faith says God is more than enough. Scarcity rushes. Faith trusts. Scarcity forces. Faith aligns. And faith doesn't mean you sit still. It means you move with confidence instead of panic. You're not rushing to prove something. You're not forcing outcomes. You're moving because you are clear, not because you're pressured. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. Prepare your mind for the next season. I've been preparing you this whole week. I've been preparing you with the Afternoon Praise for your next season, your next moment. You got to prepare for the next season, and you got to prepare your mind. It starts in your mind. Don't just pray for the next opportunity. Prepare your mindset for it. Because if your thinking doesn't change, you will repeat the same mistakes in a different season. Yes, I said it slow for you. And I'm going to say it again. Because if your thinking doesn't change, you will repeat the same mistakes in a different season. And preparation means doing the internal inside work now. Fixing how you think, fixing how you decide, fixing how you respond under pressure. So when the opportunity shows up, you're not trying to figure it out in real time. You are ready. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown.
Catch the wave. You're listening to Wave Radio, your home for uplifting gospel music.
You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. Man, my time is up. This has been great. This has been lovely. And I want to thank you for tuning in to the Afternoon Praise. And if you missed this show, or any show, you can go back on Wave Radio and listen to all the shows. Yes, just minus the music. So you're not listening for 4 hours. The most you're probably listening to is about 30 to 45 minutes, but that would be the greatest 30 to 45 minutes of your life, because these shows are going to take you to the next level. These shows are going to enhance where you already are. But let me leave you with this. Some of you all are not waiting on God. Let me say that again. Some of you are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you. Waiting on you to release what expired. Stop forcing what isn't aligned. Renew how you think. Let me say that again. God is waiting on you. Waiting on you to release what expired. Stop forcing what isn't aligned. God is waiting on you to renew how you think. Because the next season is already set. But hear me clearly. Operating in scarcity will cost you the right season. So this is your moment to reset. Not externally, but internally. To shift how you see, to shift how you decide, to shift how you move. Because when you change that, everything else follows. And when the next opportunity comes, you won't rush, you won't settle, you won't hesitate. You will move with clarity, and you will move with confidence. You're listening to the Afternoon Praise. I'm your host, Demetrius L. Brown, and I will get you next week. Hey, again, take this weekend, if you got time, if you're driving, and re-listen to these shows. I promise you, these shows will help you change your mindset. And that's what the Afternoon Praise is all about. I know you're going to get preaching on Sunday, so I want to prepare you for what God is going to give you on Sundays. I want to prepare you for what God is trying to do in your life. So go back, listen to the Afternoon Praise. I promise you, it will change your life and how you move. Hey, I'm out of here. Peace.
Stay tuned and stay blessed here on Wave Radio.